I'm not feeling like it today, man.
Absolutely, man.
We'll get up with 240. That's not even old video. I'm dying, I can hear them. So invisible in this pattern. You will hide from someone that's in sure, can I use that flag? How was it, Tracy? Oh my gosh, how are you?
Can I take that spot?
What's up? You got a little more to do this, yeah? Why are you something you said? Why are you something you said or did? That's it.
What's it, yeah. I don't want to get That's what I can do. I've got fixed something. Yeah. It was only when I said
Jak was
Drop my jacket, I'll do it, Jane. Turn it. Bring on a bit of chapter down. Both times you listen to it. Your legs,
It wasn't me. Are these some group that you have to do? Thank you. And I moved your laptop and I'll just push it off. Do you want me to?
My favorite.
You told me now almost all. 3 years away. Yes, yes, yes. No, I know. It's just and yes, yes,
We're about to start. 1 minute.
No, I'm still waiting for the presentation from last session.
Presentation. Today there's no presentation.
Yeah, but you said you were going to send me the presentation.
Hi, Charmaine. Are you guys connected there on the live stream? And you got audio as well? Can you see the screen? You got sound and visual? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Hassan, your guys, sound and visual?
Sorry?
And Yaku in them?
Yes, you have to. Oh, the head. 120 plus.
Alright, good morning everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again. Session 2, level 1. Today, no presentations. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so no nice presentations. But we're going to get straight into the business, right? We're going to go into the back office, and we're going to have a look at a few things today. Live stream is up, so if anyone contacts you now, I have already confirmed it's up. We're going to get straight into the business. They should just refresh, right? Refresh. You've got visual there, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so anyone contact you, we're not going to restart it, we're just going to continue from here, right? Alright, great stuff, guys. What we're going to cover today is... Yeah, it will come up, it will come up. What we're covering today is everything on visibility of our employees, right? So the check-ins, the manual check-ins that are done, but also visibility over and above the check-ins that happen. So from the device, last week we saw a little preview of the front-end view of what a user does in field. They press the check-in button and they're able to log the location, right? But over and above that as well, we're going to be able to determine where your employees are at any given time, whether they check in or not. So we'll have a look at that as well. We're going to have a look at some chat as well, and if there's some time, we can go back into history and look at specifics on chat. So chat history. Everything is saved on StreamLiner. That's the beauty of it, right? So let's have a look. I'm going to open up... So we're trying to make the best use of the free technology. That was a good joke. All right, we've got 7 people connected, and we're back online. It's working? Okay, thanks, bro. Alright, sorry about that. Let's continue. So as we mentioned, the first thing we're going to cover are the check-ins. If we have a look, just a recap on last week, our menu button gives us access to the activity area where we find all activity, right? Task, check-in, etc. So we're going to click on activity and we'll be brought to this page. Under activity type, we can simply select check-in. So that's pretty simple, right? Now, within the check-in, we can check in by specific employee. So if someone wants to use a quick example, we can. Anyone here you see Wayne that we can use? Victor? SRS. Sipo. Let's have a look at Sipo. Klope. Now, within our search areas, we've got the basic search, which gives us access to what we can see on the screen right now. We can search by employee name, employee code. We've got different statuses. So if we only want to see the check-ins, we can see that. But if you have a look, we've got out of range and auto outs as well, which we'll speak about shortly. We can also select a date range, a place, meaning a specific store, so all the check-ins by a specific store, and then retail banner as well. So let's have a look at a basic search for specific person here. This is Sipo Lopez check-ins. So I'd like to start with the basic search just to show you what type of information we have displayed, right? And then we can go into a more advanced search on each specific employee. The information we get here is a lot, to say the least, right? We've got an ID, and we'll talk about how this relates. Employee codes, the name, etc. In status, check-in means I've checked into a specific store. Check-out means I've checked out correctly from my device. Out of range means I've checked out of on my device, but I was away from the store at that time when I've checked out, right? And then we've got the place codes and the store, and then the store description as well. Now, with every single check-in, I have a hyperlink to a map for that specific check-in or out of range, anything, right? If I click on that, it will open up on Google Maps. So we have the Google API connected within StreamLiner back office, and you will able to see exactly where this specific check-in was done. Obviously now we're sending out through the live stream a lot of data, and we're also using back office, so yeah, just bear with us here. So while it's going on, we can see right next to that we've got accuracy, right? Accuracy in meters. Now, our devices that we use, no matter what device it can be, the latest Samsung as well, you are at the mercy of the technology, right? So the GPS antenna within the device is not always great at accuracy. We don't have military grade GPS signal, right? So depending on areas, depending on times, you might find your accuracy will jump up and down here and there. We now pull that information from the device at that moment in time. What was the accuracy on the device at that moment? So we have access to that. So if we look here, the check-in was done more or less in this area. We can click on the hybrid views to see a more detailed, a more visual. We've got map. We can zoom in, zoom out. But this is just Google Maps, right? You guys are used to this by now. So I'm going to close this for now and show you more about the accuracy parts of it. So with the accuracy, why is this important? Have a look at the accuracy. For example, the first row, it says 1,514 meters. That means at that moment in time, the check-in was done. The accuracy of that GPS antenna within that smartphone was 1.5 kilometers basically, right? Right next to that, we've got distance to the place. So using these two pieces of information, distance to the store, right, as well as the accuracy, we are able to determine whether a check-in was done at the store or far away from the plane. So in the past, we didn't have this information, and remember, we are at the mercy of the device accuracy. So sometimes a user might in fact be at the store but does a check-in, and on the map it will show him away from the store. Maybe there's a lake nearby. So now we're not too sure, is that person really at the store, or are they just chilling out at the lake, right? We don't know. We have no idea of saying that. Why? Because we didn't know the accuracy. So if we see the point is now about a kilometer away at that lake, but the accuracy tells us the same story, that the accuracy was about a kilometer out, it means that, you know what, most likely he was in fact in the store. But if we see his accuracy was like, for example, on the second row, where it says 10 meters, 10 meters is literally less than this room, right? It's like pretty accurate. And then we see his point near the lake, then we know that the accuracy at that time was saying that he was actually near the lake. So using this, for you guys in HR purpose, etc., you're able to then now determine a lot more. You're not just guessing, right? Because at the end of the day, we are at the mercy of the device. Doesn't matter what devices we have. So that's some nice information we have there. If we look further on, obviously we've got dates, etc. Now I'd like to bring you to the date. So on my device, I'm able to change the date. We can't stop anyone from doing that. We have a specific software that locks that down. So on your device, Francois, you are able to change the date on your device and check in, right? So if you order time, let's use time more specifically. So if I get to a store at 10 o'clock, but I'm supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, I can change the time on my device and it will show me that I've checked in at 8 o'clock. So I change it. It's now 10 o'clock, but I change it to 8 o'clock and I check in. On the back office here, if we look at this time here, the first row, so date and time, it will show 8 o'clock. Right next to that, we've got server created date and server created time. Now that will show you if someone is now checked in there, and it will tell us, no, it says 8 o'clock, but he actually checked in 10 o'clock. And so that is immediately fraud for you, or however you want to use it. And as long as you guys know that we're able to do this, then they won't take advantage. Look, in any software, in any system, end user will always try to play around, right? And it's good that they play around, because then we are able to develop better as we move along.
So on the 22nd there it says 14:35 and the other one says 3 o'clock the afternoon.
Yes. It means his time was out. His time was out then.
Tell me, what about the top? Is the 27th you checked in and you checked out on the 26th?
Yeah, look, I just pulled generals. I just put generals. It's not checkout, so we'll need to see. It is a checkout, you are right, but it's a different store. It's a different store, right? So you see you've got that. So look, I just put a general. Look, we can do store specifically, and then you're looking at the status and you're comparing it with the place name, and yeah. Remember, we also, right. Moving along from there, obviously agency, that will be Ligra, whatever it may be. Department, so most of it will be field staff. If you've got office staff, if you've got separate types, it can be applied as well. Province. Why am I showing you all of these? Because you can filter by these specifically as well. Region, we've also got the device ID and the IMEI number as well. So if a device, if someone's checking in with different IMEI numbers for friends, etc., you can also check that. You can, if you suspect something, you can go through and look and see, okay, we're checking in for each other. Further than that, we can't do much more, right? Until we've got iris scanner check-in, maybe coming soon. So with this here, we've got okay, so there's no delete issue for you guys, but export data. So you can export whatever you're searching. Always is exportable in Excel. Why in Excel? Because in Excel that data is raw, and you can report, you can play around with it, you can do whatever you need to from Excel, right? You can also export to a map, which will show you the points. I will show you that a little bit later. I just want to pull all these points because it's a lot, right? I'll pull something a little shorter so I can show you it drawn on the map just now. Let's have a look now. This is just the basic search, right? This is so far only the basic search of checking your employees. If we click on advanced search, we now have access to a little bit more, and we've seen within the table we've got department and region, etc., etc., etc. And this is where it comes in. I think also with Ligra, it's a lot more valuable, because you don't want to pull in the whole of Ligra. Maybe you only want to see HP department, that's a responsibility, or whatever other departments there are, Hoover, etc., right? So that's why, tying into last week, that is why it's important for our employee database to be kept up to date. So we know that a Hoover person is still on Hoover, not now moved to HP, otherwise he's going to be missing in that when we pull it, right? So in my advanced search now, I've got the same scenarios as well, but I've also got in superior. So instead of clicking 5 or 10 or 15 different employees' names, I know that everyone linked to Sherwin, for example. So Sherwin, maybe you looking at your guys, you just put your name in there, Sherwin. So everyone that reports to Sherwin, now you will see all for your team, right? Then we've got department, which we can make use of, and we do make use of a lot more within Ligra. So like I said, HP, Hoover, etc., etc. And obviously we've got province and region. Now in region, for example, in SRS, we've just updated now with Wayne, right? So we've got, for you, for example, Victor, all the ASMs. We've made the regions by ASM. So you at any given time, you can search by Victor and you can pull. Now, with these search criteria, it's not one at a time. We're able to apply multiple filters at the same time. So I'm searching for a specific region, Hoover, but only in the Gauteng province. Example. Do I need to speak more about this? Not, right? It's pretty self-explanatory, just showing you a brief overview of it. Within place, if you click there, you can see, you can type a specific store. So we're looking at maybe Woodmeat. And there we've got a few stores within Woodmeat. If we don't want to pull by Woodmeat specifically, but we want to pull by Pick and Pays, and then we can apply that to Pick and Pays in Gauteng, for example, all the Pick and Pays in Gauteng. What is our calling on that? There we go. So you guys will play around with this and understand it further. I just want to, yes?
So what I've been seeing quite often recently is not so much switching between projects, but within a project,
store and staff being shuffled around mid-month after 1
Okay.
week and so on. So is it in our interest then to on a monthly basis supply you with
100%.
staff
So here's what will
roles,
happen,
store
Nirvan.
designation?
So last week we discussed, I think Hassan and actually a lot of people from Ligra actually were very interested. Hassan, Sharon, a lot of people from Ligra. So they would like to participate in the full course that we're running right now. So as we go along, they will understand how to do those changes themselves. So you manage it on your own as the changes happen.
So ideally a project manager should manage StreamLiner associated with their
Yeah,
projects.
of course,
So
if there's
keep it
anything,
internal.
100%, yeah. So you don't have to wait. There's no, yeah.
Good.
We supply the software to you and then it's yours. You do what you do, and obviously support is cool. Hey? Well, up until now it's been about there, you know, family discounts. I don't know what's going. My boss sleeping with your boss.
We've got a new president. Time for change.
Just to confirm though that Liga is assigning to person, not to place, because we've got more than one person. So the importance of keeping your database up to date is not nearly as bad as in SRS.
Yeah.
Now in SRS we assign to store guys. So if you've mixed your people around and your root list is not updated, they literally do not get the task. So root list is, always is,
Yeah.
but really is now very, very important. Wayne has put in deadlines for the 15th of every month, and please, can we just get everyone adhering to that? Otherwise the system really is useless.
We spent like a huge amount of time last week like stressing upon that point, you know, and we spoke about the PL, remember places task and personal task. We spoke about that. That's what Tracy is mentioning now. All right, let's move on. What was the next thing we said we're going to talk about? We said we're going to talk about out of field. So again, visibility of our staff. And so when we train, when we've trained your staff, we explain to them that they are able to capture their leave, their sick leave, etc., on StreamLiner. But when they click it, and we showed you last week, when you click it, it pops up there saying, make sure that you inform your superior to avoid any pay deduction for this day, right? So we explain, when we do the training with the front-end users, we explain that this is less for a HR point, but more for a StreamLiner point, because when we score you on StreamLiner, which we hope to have in future, then StreamLiner is aware that you haven't been working for those days you are on leave, so it should not cause any demerits for missing out check-ins or tasking at that time. But yeah, you can then, but for you in the back office, you can then check back to double check your leave if anything was missed or sick leave, etc. So you can use it once you guys start getting familiar with that. So where do I find this out of field? In the same activity, right? Same activity page. That's why I said this activity page is where all the magic happens, basically. Drop down in there and I've got out of field, the last option. If I click on that, we've got very similar filters, so I'm not going to go through it. I'm not going to go through all of them. I just want to see if we can pull something from a specific date range. Let's do this month. Let's see if there's anything. Yo, okay. There's a lot. Did we show a preview of the out of fields, what options we have? Did we show how we can do out of field, select from a calendar from specific date to specific date? Okay, so in the front end, for a user to set his leave, when we do the training with the front end users, we explain them, you don't have to wait for your first day of leave. The last working day, your last working day, at the end of the day of your last check-in out of your store, you can click on out of field, and then it will pop up. If you select leave, it will give you a date range from today till next week this, and it's captured, done. And that will show up on your side. Everything that we do on StreamLiner has coordinates attached to it. Every activity you do is a coordinate, so you might want to know why, but we just thought it would be good. So yeah, you can have a look. We don't need to go through all of this again. It's exported, etc. Any questions on the out of field? Remember, with any of the options, and perhaps for you guys in the back office side or management side, maybe have a look at one of the devices and see what are the options listed in my out of field or any other area. And if you feel you'd like to add a new lookup to that, so maybe something applies specifically to your industry or your account, etc., then let us know. We can add it in. So
in other words, like, I'm not saying we do have that. Say Saturday, we're not going to be in the trade, but we're going to be working.
Got you.
So it can be out of field, cleaning up the storage.
Got you. Yes, 100%. We can do something like that perhaps. And then the good thing is, see, why did we put the coordinates in? Now you know where the person is, even though it's, so, yeah.
Okay, but Samuel Ratsaka, died 18 August 2018. On top.
Okay, well spotted there.
He's gonna be sick soon.
Already for the
Yeah, he's planning for it.
Ask him.
Maybe it's paternity leave or something.
Oi, oi, oi. All right.
Shoaib,
Yes.
is it possible for you to almost like, I think geofencing is the wrong term, but to flag a specific geotag point? Let's just say
Yeah.
I go somewhere
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to go to,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it flags me, okay, I've hit this destination
Yeah.
without authorization or approval from somebody or being with my manager. Is that possible?
Theoretically, it should be possible, but there's be a lot of admin within there. What we do have is the flip side of it. If I'm supposed to be at a store and I go away from the store, then that will flag it. But this way, I mean, you'll need to put every single area I'm not supposed to be in.
No, let's just know. I'm saying one specific building or office park.
Okay. Well, why are you
So,
thinking
for example,
specifically?
Could I integrate this into a storage management solution whereby if somebody is not, for example, make it easier for managers, right?
Yeah.
Reps are not supposed to go and access a certain storage facility.
I
But
see.
The person goes there
I see.
because they've got a key and they go and take what there is and they leave. And
I
they've
see.
got a record of that.
We can look into it. We can discuss further and look in future developments. However, if you do suspect, then there is a way of seeing that, and we're going to cover that just now. If you have suspicion, if you do have a suspicion of it, then yes, there is a way to then. So you're not completely lost for now, but we can look at that and perhaps in future developments it's something can come up. But yeah, no, thank you for the questions. Just by the way, while we are here, in every single screen, we've got a drop down where it can show where we can see specific amounts that of data that we would like to view. So if you look at the bottom here, we've got page 1 of 1. It could have been page 1 of 10, right? So where it says page size, and I'm sure you guys would figure this on your own, it goes up to 500, but it's gonna go up from next week up to 3,000. So you'll have you can view quite a bit on one page and export at the same time. That's more for me for deletion, to be honest. Because right now we need to go into the back end to delete and write a script for that. So when we're deleting bulk stuff. Okay. The next point we said we'd discuss, so we're halfway there. I think we're not too bad so far. A very exciting side of things is the live ping and the random ping systems, and these can be applied for. We've got another system that we've partnered with Cheetahs. If you know the company, you'll see why very soon. You'll see why very soon. So live ping. What is live ping? I'm able to ping a specific user at any time, provided that their device is on and the location is on at that moment, and I'm able to determine where they are at that moment in time. So on our drop down, we've got an option that says live ping. I click on that.
Just a question.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say the person goes out of the store and he puts his GPS off and then he logs out. What then? It's not going to show out of range. It's just going to show...
No coordinate checkout. Thank you so much. I forgot to actually mention this, Francois. Thank you very much. So when we were looking at the check-in side of things, we saw there was a hyperlink to every single check-in and check-out, right? If it says 000, it means that this person has switched off the location at that time. Most likely, we don't want to... 9 times out of 10, they switched the location off completely, and then they've done the checkout. So the checkout was done, we don't know where. So there is a question mark for you then to investigate. And using these other tools, we can go back. So it will say 0000 instead of having a hyperlink to the coordinates. You guys with me? Remember when we click the check? Okay, great stuff. So live ping is as simple as this. Typing in a person's name. So you type in the first few digits of characters of their name, and it will give you a few options. We've only got one there, Mr. Wayne Adams. I don't know if your question's on there. What's the story? And we click ping, right? So when we ping the user, it will pop up exactly where they are at that moment in time. Same view, the Google API. We can zoom in, zoom out, view, more detailed view, etc. So there is Wayne at this moment in time. Next to him, Bali Beauty, there he is. Wave to us there, Wayne. There we go. So there we go. You've got him, right? So as we can see, it's slightly out, so his location accuracy at that moment is probably not 100%. but we can determine that when we yeah, we should actually include that in there. Actually, wait, hold on. Okay, so constantly we are updating on our side, and this is something that we've included already that will be released next week. Again, as I said, when you click on the map, it will show, when you click on the point, it will show the accuracy at that time, so then we know. So his will probably say maybe 500 meters out there, roundabout maybe, and then we know, okay, it's probably around in SRS. We don't have ourselves yet on the Google Maps, Tracy, to get us in there. Okay. Hey?
What do you say?
No, Google Maps. So in Bali Beauty's there, we're not there yet.
No.
Coming soon.
Dimitri.
Dimitri. Okay, cool. All right, so that's simple enough. Simple enough? All right, cool. So we've got ping employee, as you saw that I've clicked at the bottom right corner of there. Next to that, we've got trace ping. Now, if that's just a gimmick from us, who knows, right? But what we're saying is we can triangulate now, even if the location is off. In some cases, we might be able to tell where the person is. So T's and C's apply on that one. So if the location is off, and you do a ping and it says employee offline, you try again, still says employee offline, you try the trace ping. You might be lucky. That one is maybe we're trying to use different sources to get the location of that device at that moment in time.
So can't we use that when the device is stolen or something?
You see, we can, but what happens is, so that's what initially, that's the first thing you do. When your device is stolen, you do a ping. Alison does it a lot. Right? So you do the ping, the first thing you do, Wayne does it as well. So you do the ping to try and determine where the device is. But usually what happens is, whenever someone steals the device, the first thing they do is what? Switch it off, right? Until whenever. Now that device will come on again, but you want your user to have a new device as soon as possible. So by the time they log in to another user, it's wiped on that side. Because remember, you're pinging by user, not by specific handsets. So unfortunately from there...
Can you not set up a database with device IDs?
And ping that...
Maybe set up another user.
the thing is that user's already logged in. So you logged in right now, your phone gets stolen. We can give you another temporary user, but we'll need to log in with a temporary user, you understand?
No, but I'm saying the actual device, can you not set up a...
I get what you're saying. Yeah, that is maybe a possibility. Yeah, look, in future. At the moment, I guess it is a big deal losing devices. We can look at it in the future. We just put it on the priority list and see. There's so much everyone wants, right?
You and me both, come, let's go.
So that is live ping. I want to know where the employee is right now. What about, I suspect the employee is been messing around for the last week or so. He's been taking chances, going home, whatever. Then we're going to look at something called random system pings. So if we look on the drop down, we have it right there, random system pings. I click on this. And by now you get the idea of how the back office works, right? In the beginning I had to say, here you'll find this. Now you know where the flow is, you already have an idea. So I've got employee here, and I can select a specific employee. So, I don't know, Wayne, have you been anywhere we shouldn't? Alright, let's use my test user. You know, don't want to get anyone into trouble here. And we can select a date range. So I'm gonna look at maybe Let's try last week Saturday, because it might be interesting. Up until Monday maybe. So again, date range, I've got advanced, etc, blah blah blah. Search. Alright, we've got it. We can view it now in Excel. So not only can we view this in Excel in a map form as well, but let's look at it in Excel, because we can use this information to dig deeper and find what's going on. So we can click on the maps, we can have a look, we can see the accuracy at that moment in time. Do you see there were some parts where the accuracy wasn't great at all? 2,500. I'm guessing I know where this is, why this was the case. Where else this now? Okay, yes, exactly. Because I was in the bush, right? Basically. I was in the bush. I was in a highway somewhere where there's only kudus and grass. That's all. So yeah. But yet I was picking up. Okay, what is random system pings? we did a manual ping to find where the person is specifically right now. But StreamLiner as a system will randomly ping the device throughout the day whenever changes are made in location, or whenever network has dropped and come up again, or whenever there's been a sync update in the device. So it's random. It is random, right? So using this, we can then we can look at specifics. Why am I saying this is important for you if you suspect an employee that is messing around? So let's say you think an employee is messing around. His check-ins look fine, but you know, maybe he's just going across the road somewhere, etc. In between those check-ins, what is going on? And that is the biggest question for people when they suspect the employee. And this is where it comes in, because this will give you an idea in between those check-ins, where was I? So as I mentioned, this is in Excel. I can export it. I've got the view, etc. I can export to the map as well. So let's have a look at what this looks like on a map. So when I click on a map, it's going to give me a new page. So I'll just enter this information again. We said from Saturday.
You see, the problem is they leave their phones installed.
So from there, like I said, the only way then from there to get past that is I don't know. There's no way, to be honest. An implant. So don't give them all this information. Don't let them know about all this information up front. This is for you to know, right? Don't tell them we can see your random movements, etc., etc., etc. Let them know that we are able to check when you checked in and where you checked in from. No problem, actually. Where you checked in from. But don't let them know that we can go random, because then they have a reason to leave it. If they don't know, they'll probably move around, and then you'll be able to catch them.
What you guys should do is, a lot of stores got force biometric registration on a monthly basis. It should be part of your KPI task. But you pull that and you vet it. That's how we've caught out 20, at least 20 staff members there. Remember, 7 days thief gets caught in a day. So it just takes you 1 month check, and you'll pick up the patterns there.
But you can also do random like tasks during the day and see turnaround time. Because if these guys are in the store on their phones looking at it, and their turnaround time on tasks is too long, you say to them, we're going to be sending out real-time tasks. You have 10 minutes to respond when you get something like this. Or you do something like you actually do regularly through a day.
Coming across this more and more, where store managers are actually getting upset with brand ambassadors sitting on their phones, supposedly for work.
Oh, but a task takes 30 seconds.
Not for example.
Yeah, not this.
But if you're doing a real-time random thing,
You know, these companies have got those, if it's staying still for too long, it gives you a red flag.
End of their day. But from a compliance,
Yeah, it's going.
No, but I mean, if it's in your pocket, it keeps moving.
Now I understand what you're saying, yeah. But if I'm stationed and it's specific, like for example the HP, stationed within 5 meters, I'm not really
But
moving.
it's still moving.
Oh, so you want us to use the gyro within the device, and we need a device then that has much better accelerometers and stuff, not the ones we have right now. But it's something to think about. Yeah, great idea.
busy with the customer and so on, and then he's gonna. It's so easy for me as a brand ambassador to say, sorry, I was busy with the sale, and it's becoming a challenge now where in-store brand ambassadors being told, I'm seeing you on, and we see the CCTV footage. Your phones are always in their hand.
They don't want to do it.
They don't want phones.
but it's because they're not using it for work only. Let's face
Well,
it.
that's
It's not
the
because they're
challenge.
sitting on StreamLiner, I guarantee
So
you.
for us, the back check is right now biometrics. Is not.
So do they force them to go through the biometrics every time they go in?
Yeah.
Fine then.
Look, anything you use is not going to cover you 100% from start to finish. So I like in advance saying, supplement that. Use the biometrics, you sort it, you know? Okay, fantastic. We just here on this point of random pings, viewing it on a map. And as we can see, this specific gentleman, this handsome specific gentleman, by the way, if we may say, has moved from Pretoria to Nelspruit to Bloemfontein, so he's been moving around. There we go. So you can see, I just use this one here, which is like a user that I use, just to show you. It's able to show and put the points in. It doesn't matter where we are across South Africa, right? And yeah, you can zoom in, you can add more points. So at the bottom here, you've got number of points to view on the map, and you can add more, you can add less, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's move on. What was the next thing we wanted to discuss was back office chat. So we get now more to the communication side of things. We are running a bit out of time now, so let's just have a quick look and see how far we get. By the way, last week I showed you guys setting up the menu and how you can customize it. Do you see I've set up the stream chat there as a shortcut, right? And you can add maybe your check-ins as well, or whatever you want to add in there. Under administration and menu settings. So play around. Let's have a look at the chat. So when I say chat, I'm talking about chat from the back office. We will find chat under stream chat. We've got chat, we've got bulk messages, we've got messages, we've got stream chat groups, and we've got, okay, that last one is not there for you. So let's have a look quickly. Chat. This is back office chat from the computer to the front end. Remember we said we can chat user to user on application. We can use back office to user, back office to back office, and group to within group, and one way, no reply, bulk messages, right? So let's have a look quickly. Anyone with a device here? Wayne, oh. Can you go into StreamLiner, bro? Okay, so I haven't ever sent you a message. Okay, so let me just show you this before I go forward. So you are in here, right? Any of your existing chats will be listed here. If you need to find a user, you can then click on this button for chats. You can search by a group, chats is group, or you can search by a specific employee. So we're going to look for Wayne.
And you can create your own group.
And you can create your own groups as well, which will be given permissions as we move along in the training. So there's Wayne. We've got Wayne. I can click on there and say, or should I say aware? Okay. Let's say let's keep it a little bit colloquial. Let's say aware. And there we go. Right. So immediately he receives the message. Did you get the message?
Yeah, but I haven't read it. You're not going to show them to check if I read it or not.
Yeah, so look, it will show you that. Usually it will show you the 1 tick, same like front end. But we missed this part out in the last one. So from next week you'll see it. It was there always. You guys know from the back office. It was there all the time. It's just we missed that part out in the last deployment. So next week you'll see this. You get the 1 tick, you'll get the 2 ticks, etc. So yeah, and then he can reply to us, etc. So you get the view. I mean, I don't need to spend time on chat. That is like everyone has a PhD in chat, right? Maybe we don't need to go through that. What I do want to show you is when you type in a message and you wanna go to the next line, Control Enter to go to the next line. If you simply press Enter, it will send the message. So Control Enter if you want to go to a next line. You can also attach pictures from back office. So from back office you can attach pictures. Please take it easy with this here. I will set a limit on this, but for you from back office there might be a need. Front end can't swap pictures in chat. You can, but we spoke about this last time and we said if it's task related and there's an action required for that specific photo, do it through a task rather. That's the best way. But sometimes perhaps you may want to send something through there, but yeah, use it sparingly is what I'm saying. Because why? That picture or the feedback from there is then not attached to a request and then feed action from there, and that's the fantastic thing about StreamLiner, right? All right, groups as well. We're gonna move on to the next subheading under Stream Chat. So Stream Chat, we then got bulk notifications. Perhaps I should show you guys first the Stream Chat groups. I think that would be good. Although this is covered in more the editing parts of so within Stream Chat groups, I'm just going to give you an overview, and then when we cover on the more editing parts of the course, the next 2 sessions from now, then we'll go through this. But basically, a user can create a group and name it like Francois team, for example. Select the employees, put them on this side, add people, create an admin user, etc. etc. So we'll go in more detail next time. Let's have a look at bulk messages. Look, a lot of this here, you guys are very, I mean, you guys are not now, I don't need to go through every single detail, right? You'll pick it up very quickly. So, a bulk notification is used quite a bit in SRS. Every time there's an urgent message that needs to be updated, we are no longer servicing this client, please stop or cease all or stop whatever merchandising or whatever it is, or please come through on this date, this specific date for your cycle meeting, all of that. And why is it great for us to send it through StreamLiner? Why? Because a lot of people prefer sending through WhatsApp, etc. But you know what? You might see a viewed or a read message, but per user. On StreamLiner, you are able to see, was it delivered firstly? So maybe the phone is off completely and it didn't even reach them. Was it read? And what time it was read, where it was read with the coordinates, etc. So when you send one bulk message to everyone, you can then export that information for the bulk message, filter then by undelivered or not viewed, and then you can say, now what's going on? These people don't know. But if it is viewed, you do know that this person has read it specifically, etc. So powerful from our side, right? Yeah. You can also create different types of no reply. So for example, HP can have you can have your own no reply contact. So when it comes up to them, it will say HP head office or HP Ligra head office, whatever you're going to call it, and then same with Hoover, or you can just keep it as Ligra head office. It's up to you guys. Let me see here quickly. Oh, wrong number. So we're going to create a quick bulk message just to show you how it's done. Right now, UI is there. You guys, back office is never the fanciest with nice buttons, etc. But we are going to make it. I showed you guys last time in that email I sent. But let's have a look. At the bottom right-hand corner is where you get all these actionable buttons like export, delete, edit, update, all of these, right? So if you understand that, you'll be able to find it. So I want to add a new bulk message. So I click add. Very simple now, it pops up. What am I going to call it? So this is not what the user is seeing. This is what, when I want to reference it again in future, what am I going to look for? So let's call it StreamLiner Back Office Level 2 Training Session 2. Level 1 Training Session 2, right? So we can call it that. So I'm just going to type in quickly here because I'm really not feeling like and then your sender. I explained to you guys that you can you can add different type of senders. So different type of no replies. We'll just select head office no reply. In the message, you can then type whatever you need to, blah, 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 contact details, kind regards, SRS management, Ligra management, for further info, whatever, right? We actually started sending out, especially with SRS, positions that become available within the company, because we need to advertise it. And to be honest, there is no real way to advertise these to merchandise a level because no email. So there we go, perfect, it goes through. Now, with this, the great thing about bulk messages is you don't need to send it early in the morning on 8 o'clock when this new news breaks, because that's generally what happens, right? I can do it now and then schedule it for 8 o'clock to go out. Now, with bulk messages, and I always explain this to every back office user, you must include yourself in it, or a test user that you have, or some user in the field that you can have direct communication with. Because let it go through and just confirm, you know what, it came through and it looked correct, etc. You can even do a test for yourself. So you can select send immediately, like I said. The employees are here at the bottom. We can search, and we will add more search options like region, for example, Victor, Gauteng, all one shot. Or you can select specifically by employee, etc. So we are going to add more search criteria options there.
Do by project.
Yes. So all the search options we had in other screens, those are all very valuable. We can just add them in here. We have them already.
But also you can create a group from whatever.
Also, you can create a group. So. Yeah, so you have specifics, spend the time creating that group the first time, and then you can send here by group. So here where it says chat, remember chat is group, right? Maybe we'll include the word there, chat group. And then you can select. So as you can see, there's a few groups created here within SRS. They've got Free State, Berry Hill, Bloomstaff, so that's probably everyone there. Yeah, whatever, right? So Free State's going crazy with the chats. It's just FS. What's happening here? I need to crack down. Is there anything about singles here? I didn't check here. Gauteng singles. Okay.
Shoaib, is there character limitation to the message?
With the bulk message, we've sent out. There is a character limit. It's very high though with the bulk message. With standard message, there is 240 characters. You know, one-to-one message. But with the bulk message, I'll give you the exact amounts. I'll check in the configuration. But like I said, we can increase and decrease that. That is all there within updates. So yeah, Jonathan as well, you send quite a bit of bulk messages. There we go. So if I want to schedule this message, I'll untick send immediately. of course, and I will select a date from the calendar drop down here and a time, and then I will submit it. And then you click save and it goes through, right? And let's say I've already typed this long message before. Every cycle meeting, every 3 months or whatever it is, I type in a long message and whatever. I can then now use, and the users are the same. The people I'm saying is the same. So what I can do is, for example, let's say test. Let's say this was a, who's testing there? When you? Oh, okay. So let's say this is a. Let's say this was a cycle meeting scenario I'm explaining you guys. So all the same users will be used again in 3 months, etc. I can go into this and I can say update copy. So I'm copying the exact same message with the same users. I can just change my dates in there, and then this is just to make it a little bit easier, right? Give you a little warning in there, and then you can see. So I got the same message in there, and I can select different dates, and I can change 1 or 2 things, and it can be easier for me to send it this time. Again, we've got advanced options in here, etc. And because we just about done with time, and I did put this on the list, let's have a quick look at the chat history. I think we've covered quite a bit already, so let's have a look at the chat history quickly. So again, in the drop down for stream chat, we've got one called messages. Now messages will encompass everything, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's back office, front end, whether it's group messages, etc. And so you guys can play around with this. But why is this so great? Because you are providing your staff with a communication tool which they can communicate between themselves and with you, right? By the way, we can disable chat if that is something you do not want your staff to have completely. We can do that, specific users or as a whole. But you're providing this here, and you don't know what can be done. Your staff could be using your own system to round up support against you, right? Let's toy tomorrow, and it's using your system, right? And you wanna. So if you get some word, etc., no one's gonna go now and search every single message. I mean, there's thousands that go through. But if you have something and you want to search maybe Wayne, let's see what they say about Wayne, because I'm sure there must be something to say about you. So in there we can type in a keyword Wayne, we can put a search date in, and we can click search. Let's see what comes up. If there has been any, oh, you see, right? So so I'm sure there would be some stuff. Look there, Wayne wants to tell with Chance now. Fine. Wayne wants to talk with Chance, they're communicating, make sure you're available, whatever it is, right? So but if you want to look for specific words like strike or whatever it is, right, you're able to determine. So this is searching thousands and thousands of messages that was communicated to, from, back office, anywhere it will find it, right? You've got sender, you've got receiver. Do you see there? You've got viewed, you've got sent but not viewed. So what's going on there? You've got a new message there. So what is new? Hold on. Oh, this is a head office message, right? Okay, so you've got all of this information, time, dates, and I don't need to go through that. You will go and you will have a look and enjoy. You can then also search specifically by every message that was sent by Sherwin, for example. Sherwin sent messages from this date range to this date range, and we can have a look at all the messages sent by Sherwin. We can then also look all the messages received by Sherwin by putting just the receiver in. We can also look between Nirvan and Sherwin, sender and receiver, we can find that as well. And then we can also search by specific chat groups. So we want to now zone in a bit more now. We want to find the keyword Wayne, but only in the Free State single group or something, right? Yeah, and you've got your other date ranges, etc. I think that's enough that we've covered as well. This data is exportable as well. So everything we view, we can export to use for whatever we need to.
Hi, Janelle, how are you doing?
But yeah, that is it. 5 minutes to spare for some questions. Only 5 minutes. But any questions, everyone? Anyone?
Okay, so obviously the APN is still zero rated here, so there's a cost to us.
The APN. Yeah, so some companies will be on APN, others are using their own data. But the APN that is used, yeah, it's the one. When we say zero rated, we still pay for it, right? But I mean, it's just
to the end user. So I know
To the end user, yes. There's no need to update any, load any airtime or data or anything. They're constantly connected, sharing from the bundle that we have there. Each user has an IP address, so we do explain this in training with the APN users. Each of you have a specific IP address, so if you're doing adult research or whatever you're doing, we're able to tell it's you, right?
So this is not this is determined by the StreamLiner app and not the device.
So StreamLiner is separately, and the connection to the internet, which comes in the form of APN for you guys, is a separate thing that we have. That's just providing you the internet. It's not part of StreamLiner. StreamLiner we sell is available where through Wi-Fi, through prepaid, through contract, any form.
What I'm saying is that so it's a dedicated APN that's being used, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's irrespective of what device is being used.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
what I'm asking.
SIM card. It's SIM card. The SIM card is provisioned to have access to that APN.
What happens in a case whereby my staff are using the StreamLiner app on their own devices?
On their personal
devices? No, so let me rephrase. A device has been provided by the business to do their primary job that is not your typical StreamLiner device.
No, it's...
Now I go and tell my guys, download the StreamLiner app.
Yeah.
Philips field marketing team,
for example.
That's what
yeah.
I'm describing. How's it going to behave for them from a data perspective?
So we'll need to discuss that there. Are they receiving calls on that line, for example? Are they on a contract already on those lines?
So we fund everything there. There's no cost to them for that handset and for that airtime.
But I'm saying, yeah, it's a company provided one. But is it a contract or are they buying data?
No, we recharge them every month. So it's
okay, so with that, they will buy the data bundles and they'll consume the data through StreamLiner via the data bundle.
But we need to reassess that because Navon with the APN at least we've got some control. The way you're doing it, they can spend that data on you.
But understand also...
You've got a firewall on the APN.
Yeah, but understand also now that because we have one APN specifically and it's shared now through the different companies, we have the specific set rules of the firewall rules, and you might need you might need more. You might need us to open more on your side. And we don't block by user, we block by firewall as a whole, so APN as a whole. So I would recommend, even if you're going to contract whatever, keep that separately, especially it's an account for that runs for a specific period of time, and they can consume the data that way.
Yeah, but you're just going to have to look at people running out of data, and why are they running out of data? Because...
So there is a solution that will come now more from...
So guys, what I'm trying to get to here is that because the WhatsApp is used so aggressively, that's your killer of the data.
Yeah.
My question is this going to behave differently and use less data?
Yes, because you're not lying.
So then it's fine to run it. It's fine to run it.
Yes, it's better than WhatsApp.
Exactly. And then so then task proof of the end user can attach a photo and upload, right?
Through different forms, not chat, but we can
but
discuss.
that's fine. But then that's all. That answers my question.
All right. So either way, whether you are on prepaid, whether you're on contract, whether you're on the APN, StreamLiner as a system it doesn't work specifically with either of these. It can work with any type of internet connection to work. So StreamLiner is one thing, and APN we can discuss separately from the company point of view. From I wouldn't say brands. What is it now? Hey? Retail something. Okay. From that point of view.
It's a unique situation here whereby the client wants to see live real-time sharing.
Yes.
Of proof of execution.
Yes.
And we also need our proof of execution for our weekly and monthly reporting.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is separate rights. What is coming directly from Hassan or whoever the project manager will be governed by StreamLiner, and everything else as a direct message or not related to a reporting or a task. WhatsApp can be used for us. At the moment, WhatsApp is doing everything for them.
Yeah, so when you guys start loading, obviously, tasks and stuff, you'll eliminate already a first bunch
Let's discuss.
And for general chat, there is that as well. So you could eliminate WhatsApp altogether.
Let's discuss further, right?
But that's fine, yeah. I think we can find, it's a bit of a hybrid, but it will work.
So perfect. Any other questions? On the dot, 11:30. I hope the stream on the other end was fine and everyone was able to view. But I'm ending the stream now. Thank you very much for joining us.